Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of information, sift through it, and extract the most important nuggets of knowledge to help you become well-informed quickly. Today, we're diving into a fascinating, headline-making development in American politics.
Yeah, definitely making waves. We've got a single, pretty impactful source for this deep dive. An article titled, "Elon Musk Announces Forming of America Party in Further Break from Trump." That's from CNA. Published just today, July 6, 2025.
Okay, so our mission today is basically to unpack the details of this new political venture. We want to understand the context behind Musk's, well, rather dramatic shift and explore what it might mean for the political landscape. You've shared this source with us, and we're here to guide you through what's most important. So with that overview, let's get into the core of this development. The central piece of news here is, of course, the announcement itself. Elon Musk stated on Saturday, July 5th, 2025, that he has officially launched a new political party in the United States.
Right. And what's fascinating, I think, is his stated reason for doing it. He wants to challenge what he describes as the country's one-party system.
The one-party system.
Yeah.
In the U.S.
Well, yeah, that's his framing. He posted on X, "When it comes to bankrupting our country with waste and graft, we live in a one-party system, not a democracy." And then he adds, "Today, the America Party is formed to give you back your freedom." It immediately raises a crucial question, doesn't it? What exactly does he mean by one-party system when you've got Democrats and Republicans?
That's a really vital distinction, yeah.
Yeah.
It probably resonates with quite a few voters. When Musk talks about a one-party system or the uniparty, he's tapping into this feeling that, despite all the arguing between Democrats and Republicans, they often end up agreeing on fundamental things. Things like maybe unchecked spending or certain foreign policy aspects. He even shared that meme, didn't he? The two-headed snake.
He did, yeah. Captioned, "End the Uniparty."
It's a very vivid image, paints a clear picture of his point that the whole system is feeling, not just one side. It feels like a critique of the entire establishment.
And to really get why he's doing this now, we need to look at his recent history with the political establishment. He was, not that long ago, a pretty notable ally of U.S. President Donald Trump.
A very notable ally. Wasn't he Trump's biggest political donor in the 2024 election?
Exactly. The biggest donor.
But their relationship, it took a really sharp turn, ended up in a pretty bitter falling out, from what the article says. Musk had actually been leading Trump's effort to slash spending and cut federal jobs. He was heading up something called the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE.
Right, DOGE. And just to clarify for listeners, this wasn't like an official cabinet department.
Yeah, not at all. More like an initiative, right? A task force he was spearheading within the administration to find waste.
Precisely. Looking at the bigger picture then, the breaking point seems to be Trump's big domestic spending plan.
The spending plan.
Yeah. Musk said it would explode the U.S. debt, and he basically vowed to do everything he could to defeat lawmakers who voted for it. That's kind of a classic case policy disagreement, just overriding everything else.
And he was pretty direct about it on X, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Someone asked why he went from loving Trump to attacking him, and he cited the deficit increase going from, an already insane U.S. $2 trillion under Biden to U.S. $2.5 trillion. He just said, this will bankrupt the country.
And that bill, the one they're talking about, is projected to add an extra, get this, U.S. $3.4 trillion onto the U.S. deficit over a decade.
$3.4 trillion. Okay, yeah, you can see why that might be a line in the sand for him.
Definitely seems like it was.
So, given this huge shift, what's the actual plan? What's the concrete strategy he's laying out for this new America Party? His stated goal is obviously to defeat those lawmakers behind the spending plan. He said something pretty intense, like they will lose their primary next year if it is the last thing I do on this earth.
Strong words. And he even sketched out a possible battle plan on X. He said, one way to execute on this would be to laser focus on just 2 or 3 Senate seats and 8 to 10 House districts.
Just a few seats.
Yeah, the idea being to become the deciding vote on key legislation. It suggests a very targeted, sort of strategic approach, not like a massive nationwide campaign right out of the gate.
Okay, that makes sense. And he tested the waters a bit first, didn't he? On July 4th, Independence Day, he ran that X poll asking if people want independence from the two-party, some would say uniparty system. Got over 1.2 million responses, apparently.
It did. And the results were 2-1 in favor of wanting a new party.
That's a significant number of responses, for sure. But, it's an X poll. Given the platform's user base, how reliable is something like that as a real measure of what average Americans are thinking?
That's a really crucial point to consider, absolutely. The sheer volume shows interest, definitely. But X polls, well, they tend to reflect the views of people who are active on X. And those users might already lean a certain way, or they might just be more engaged with someone like Musk. So it's an indicator of some sentiment, yes, but maybe not a perfect snapshot of the whole country.
Right, got it. So interesting data point, but maybe take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly. He also used a historical analogy, which was interesting, referencing Epaminondas shattering Spartan invincibility at Leuctra.
Leuctra, okay. Pulling out the ancient Greek history.
Right. He said, the way we're going to crack the uniparty system is by using a variant of how Epaminondas shattered the myth of Spartan invincibility. Extremely concentrated force at a precise location on the battlefield.
That's certainly a dramatic analogy, but some might argue is that maybe a bit grandiose for a brand new political movement. Does that kind of talk help or hinder him, do you think? Trying to be seen as a serious player.
Well, it's probably a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? For his fans, his existing followers, it might sound really inspiring, revolutionary even. But for more traditional political folks or people who are already a bit skeptical of him, it could come across as maybe detached from the, let's say, the messy realities of American politics.
Which are notoriously complex, yeah.
Exactly. Resistant to quick fixes. It definitely highlights his sort of think different approach, but maybe also hints that he might be underestimating just how dug in the current system is.
Okay, so moving on to the fallout from all this. Unsurprisingly, this feud has had some pretty big ripple effects. After Musk slammed Trump's big spending bill, which, by the way, did eventually pass Congress and get signed into law, Trump's reaction was quite something.
It really was. Trump actually threatened to deport Musk.
Deport him?
Yeah, and strip federal funds from his businesses.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, for everyone listening, Musk was born in South Africa, yes, but he's been a U.S. citizen since 2002.
Right. So threatening a prominent citizen and, a major investor like that, it definitely escalates things beyond typical political arguments.
Absolutely. It could certainly influence how other business leaders think about getting involved in politics, seeing that kind of personal attack.
And for Musk himself, this isn't just abstract political debate, it's hitting his wallet. The article mentions precipitous falls in Tesla's share price because of the feud. After Trump got reelected in November, the stock apparently soared over US $488 in December. Then it lost more than half its value by April, closing last week at US $315.35.
Yeah, and that's not just normal market ups and downs. It really underscores the kind of unique vulnerability of a public company when its CEO is also such a hyper-engaged and frankly controversial political figure. The real insight there, perhaps, is how uniquely and visibly Musk's personal political brand is tied to the financial health of his companies. His political fights are much more costly for him than they might be for a traditional politician.
Because investor confidence is directly linked to his personal stances.
Precisely. His personal political battles directly impact how investors see Tesla, SpaceX, and the rest.
And stepping back for a second, looking at the bigger picture, observers are always quick to point out how tough it is for third parties in the U.S., historically speaking.
Oh, absolutely. They almost always struggle. They often end up splitting the vote, right? The classic example everyone brings up is Ross Perot's independent run back in '92.
Right, which many believe helped doom George H.W. Bush's reelection and basically handed the win to Bill Clinton. Someone on X even told Musk directly, apparently, "You are pulling a Ross Perot and I don't like it."
That comparison comes up constantly, and for good reason. Look, despite Musk's immense wealth and his huge public profile breaking that Republican-Democratic hold on power, it's a duopoly that's dominated American politics for over 160 years.
A very long time.
It's a massive undertaking. Plus, you have to consider Trump's approval ratings in his second term, according to the article, have generally stayed pretty firm above 40%. That indicates a strong base of support that any new party, including Musk's, would find really difficult to chip away at least initially. The historical odds are just overwhelmingly stacked against successful third parties.
Okay, so we've taken a pretty deep dive here into the formation of Elon Musk's America Party. We've looked at the dramatic shift in his political alignment, the financial and policy reasons behind it, and these really significant historical challenges that face any third-party movement in the U.S.
Yeah, it's clear that while there's definitely some desire out there for an alternative to the perceived two-party system, the actual path forward is incredibly complex. It's full of those historical hurdles we just talked about. The real impact of the America Party, whether it's on the 2026 midterms or maybe the presidential election 2 years after that, it really remains to be seen, especially considering Musk's quite specific laser-focused strategy versus the usual broad appeal approach.
So, what does this all mean for you, the learner? Maybe consider this. Given those historical precedents and how deeply entrenched the two-party system is, how might a strategic, laser-focused approach, like the one Musk described, targeting just a few key seats, genuinely differ from past third-party attempts? And maybe think about what would even count as success for a movement like this, especially if it isn't aiming for the presidency right away. Just something to mull over as you continue to watch the ever-evolving dynamics of modern American politics.